It looks weird. It looks weird when you're out in the middle of nowhere by yourself, and people start like driving by. They're like, "What the hell's that guy doing talking to himself out there?"
I drove this thing down the road for 100 yards. That's about as much seat time as I got in that thing.
Well, y'all know what y'all like about it, what you see like about it.
We're gonna talk about the Raptor, the Prinoth Raptor 500 really quick, about what they like and don't like about it really quick. How many hours y'all got on this thing, Clay? About 1,000 since you bought it?
It's somewhere around,
yeah, about 1,000.
1,000, 1,100, yeah.
So, because I know y'all bought it with about 200 hours on it or so, and he said that's got about 1,300 hours on it. So 1,100-ish. And so everybody, I'm sure everybody wants to know about the business end of this thing with the teeth. So, is that your second set of teeth?
That is the second set of teeth.
Tell everybody how much it costs to replace. What's it like? There's 72 teeth on there.
It's about 15 grand to replace the teeth on it.
Yeah, say that. Yeah, 15.
15 grand to replace the teeth on it.
Yeah. So I did the math on that. So if you're getting 500 hours, let's just call it average. You're getting 500 hours out of there. That set of teeth there is costing you an average of 30. That whole set's $30 an hour.
There you go.
Yeah. So just right off the top, whatever your hourly rate is on this, $30 right off the top goes just to the teeth.
And I think when we were sold the machine, we were told they were 1,000-hour teeth. Yeah. And they're about half that.
Really? Yeah, I think Scotty said what, 500 to 600 or so?
500 to 600.
Okay.
And the skids on them, the skids wear down really fast too.
Do they?
That's the second set of skids we got.
This is second set of skids we bought, and we've already fabbed, you know,
yeah, I see that down there.
The skids to them.
Yep.
So these wear out a lot faster than what we thought as well.
Gotcha. What was the replacement of the skids?
We custom those.
Okay.
We built them ourselves.
Okay, so that's the original set. You just
no, that was the second set, but we built that.
Well, you built that. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
And these teeth, are they the reversible ones, or are they just one-sided?
They're double-sided.
They're double-sided?
Double-sided, yep.
Okay.
So when they wear out, you just flip them over.
You flip them over. And you can see they're kind of like this, well, I can't turn the head, but they're kind of this pointed shape. And so they're kind of more like,
they're carbide teeth.
Yeah, they're carbides, and they more or less sort of rip. You know, like the other carbides that are more flat, kind of hammer, but these are more, they rip into stuff, but they don't necessarily kind of cut like a chipper tooth would on a seam-off. But yeah, I mean, you can tell, like when he back drags and that stuff goes through there, it just explodes coming out of there.
Crushes it pretty good.
Yeah. So even for a carbide, the mulch quality is extremely impressive. You know, I mean, I mean, you've got some chunks in here, but I mean, for what you guys are doing in reforestry in here, you know, doing, replanting.
Oh, this is way better than what it needs to be.
Oh, yes. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this turns this into a food plot, essentially.
Pretty much,
We're
yes.
We're going to replant it in longleaf.
Okay. I mean, yeah, this is basically, you come through here and disc that up, you know, that would be food plot quality.
And you can run a disc over that tomorrow.
Yep.
That's what I had to do here.
So, fuel consumption, Colby was saying, so today, full tank, he went through 135 gallons.
13 gallons an hour.
Yeah, so 13 gallons an hour out of this has a Cummins engine in it.
Yep.
Yep, about 475 horsepower. With the Raptors on the Prinoth, the 500 is the rough horsepower. They make the 200 is the new model, and then they've had the 3, and then the 5, and then they also make an 8. And the 8, I've never seen one in person, but I assure you, it's probably,
it's got to be a beast.
That thing's got to be massive. And this thing right here is a beast. So, and then I think he ran through what, like 13 gallons of DEF as well in it, something like that.
7 gallons of DEF.
Okay.
7 gallons of DEF?
7.5 gallons. It holds on 15 gallons.
Oh, you went through, okay, so he went through 7 gallons today. Okay, so he burned about a gallon an hour is what he's burning in DEF.
Yep.
So
it's an expensive machine to run.
Yeah, no doubt. One thing about this machine, you know, a lot of people are familiar with the skid steers, you know, the lamb tracks and stuff like that. Those are all hydraulically powered. This is actually basically a PTO is what it is. Correct. And so the power transfer out of the engine, you know, it comes basically straight out of the engine, and it goes through, like the way Scott told me over at Ned, one of the mechanics, said it basically goes into a torque converter.
Correct.
And comes out of that, which I guess is sort of like a transmission, so to speak, I guess.
Clutch,
yeah, okay. And then goes to this head, and then it's got
heavy-duty clutch system.
Okay. And then it goes to 2 belts, and then so up here it diverts off, and it's got 2. Oh, there goes my car alarm. That's me. Shut up. Sorry. That hits in my pocket sometimes. So it goes into a PTO down in there and actually drives. It's powered on both sides. So on like a skid steer mulcher, you've got 1 drive belt. This one actually has 2.
You know, that's one thing I don't know how long the belts last.
You guys haven't?
Wow,
you never had to replace them. Wow, 1,000 hours at least out of it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing about this machine that, you know, one of the common problems that you've got in the skid steers and the other hydraulically powered heads is, you know, keeping the hydraulic oil cool. But the only thing that's hydraulically powered on this thing is just moving the head up and down and driving the track. So really, as long as it's got a radiator big enough on it to keep the engine cool,
it's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine. You don't have to worry about cooling your hydraulic oil as well. And that's one of the problems that a lot of skid steers seem to have outside of ASV, is keeping both the engine and the hydraulic oil cool. It's always seems to be one or the other. Most of them have, you know, it's the hydraulic oil, but I've heard on the cats it's the engines.
Right.
So you guys haven't had any overheating issues with overheating. Running in the summer, we're down here in South Carolina in the south, it gets very hot and humid in the summer times. No issues.
No, we ran it solid. I mean, we ran it all summer, never had an issue.
The other thing was the track system. Colby was saying you've never thrown a track either.
Nope.
Off of it,
which is amazing.
And that I could not believe that.
Yep.
Never thrown a track off this thing, going over all those stumps and sticks and all that stuff. And
these are 1,000-hour. I mean,
original undercarriage on it.
Yeah, it's
still.
all original.
So this is 1,300 hours on this in sand, by the way. We're in sand, which eats undercarriages alive.
Stays in sand.
Yeah, stays in sand. And down here, you know, I've talked to the guys at Deere. The guys that run dozers are lucky to get 2,000 hours out of an undercarriage on a dozer.
That's looking at that. That's probably a 2,000 hour sprocket.
Okay, so that's about average around here, and but to not be able to have that truck system not throw a track.
Now we clean them. Kobe's really good about cleaning them every day too.
Yep.
So when he starts, they're clean, and when he finishes, they're clean.
Okay, and that's one thing I know. I've noticed a lot about several heavy, you know, site work companies, is that they make their guys clean out the undercarriages every day, no matter what they're doing, and that the life that they get out of an undercarriage after doing that seems to be
a lot more.
A lot more. So yeah, this has been a pretty solid machine for you guys overall.
It's been a great machine.
And you know, for doing stuff like this is what machine is made. This is not skid steer work. I don't care what skid steer you're running.
Right.
This is not a skid steer job.
Too big for skid steer.
You know, you would be, you know, that's like trying to bail water out of the ocean coming in here with a skid steer. And just the ability to subsoil down 6 inches with this thing.
It's amazing.
To grind the stumps down.
Yeah, you can plant this tomorrow if you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, it's soft and it's down 6 inches. You know, I mean, most of the seedlings you're putting in here don't even need to be that deep, really, do they?
No,
yeah.
Well, they're 6 to 8 inches, but they have a hood, so they can. It just makes it easier.
Okay.
Gives them a better surface, gives us a level surface, so they can come in here and spray it, burn it, and everything's clean. So it just makes a better result for a long term.
So if that is
better.
Yes. So if you're in an area where there's a lot of logging and they're trying to replant or reclaim old logging areas, you know, this might be an option for you to get a machine like this that's got these carbides that can subsoil. You know, if you had chipper teeth, you would cut a lot faster, but you'd go through a set of teeth in probably a day or two.
And even pasture conversion, like this could be pasture land tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you come in and clear cut your property and then mulch it with this machine, and you could put livestock out here tomorrow.
Yeah, and not have to worry about digging up all the stumps, burning everything, yada yada yada. That's and on a property like this, converting it over, that's probably one of the biggest time consumers and cost consumers, I would think, would be to come in here and dig all this.
Conventionally doing it, stumping it is extremely time consuming.
Yeah, and time is money.
Time's money, and then you got a huge pile of debris you got to get rid of. So
Yep.
you have to burn it, and then you got to do something with the burns, you know, the stuff that doesn't burn. So you got to bury that, and you know, one day you got pasture land.
Yep. And he got, like, in 8 hours, he got a solid, I would say, anywhere 2 to 3 acres done in here today.
Yeah, and he'll actually, this had a lot of big hardwood stumps, and he'll get faster. He'll get up to probably 5 to 6 acres in here before it's done a day.
Okay.
So
yeah, it'll
pick up. The pace will pick up.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, just going through, you could see, like, in the beginning of the video what he was grinding. I mean, he was grinding hardwood stumps like that.
Right.
You know, hardwood oaks and stuff like that in here, which are not easy to grind at all.
They would actually smoke. They're so hard.
Yeah, yeah. He did one over there, and I mean, it looked like it was on fire.
That's right. But pine stumps and small vegetation, 7 to 10 acres a day. So it just depends on what you're in.
And you guys went to this machine over a Barco a wheeled Barco because of the rutting issue?
Mainly for rutting, yep.
So in soft ground, you know, that track system to be able to float over soft and
I mean, it's around 6 psi for the ground pressure, and that's nothing.
Yeah, really, it's really just floating over the ground for a machine that big and that heavy. I mean, that head weighs about, just the head on this weighs 15,000-ish pounds.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I mean, that head weighs more than my skid steer with a mulching head on it.
For sure.
Yeah. To only have 6 psi on it, that's floating.
Yep.
You know, over a wheeled machine, you know, so, you know, you guys were, you know, probably sinking and rutting and bogging.
Oh, it's terrible, man. You come in here and well, this is a sand hill, but
yeah,
you know, you get in a wet area and you have waist-high ruts in the property. Where out here, it just floats across the top.
Yeah, and
no
then
rutting, I mean, it's nice.
So comfortability, Colby seems to really like it. I mean, it's got a really big, nice cab on it for sure. That was one thing I was super impressed with this thing. It's not a skid steer cab at all in this thing. It's a big, comfortable.
More of a big tractor.
Yeah. Definitely seems like a bigger cab than a dozer for sure too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Plenty of leg room, a lot of glass, visibility, backup. You got a backup camera. Even got what this thing, like, keep your drinks cold?
It's supposed to be refrigerated. Yeah.
Yeah. So keep your drinks cold. And I think this cab, as I was watching him, it has some kind of suspension on it that actually takes the impact out of the machine. The cab kind of floats. I don't know if it's air ride. Don't quote me on that, but I know it has some kind of.
It's probably spring. It's spring.
It has a suspension on it, so everything that machine is hitting is not being transferred directly into your butt sitting in that cab. So yeah, overall, a very solid machine for these guys. One thing Colby was saying he didn't like was y'all have had issues with this winch on the back, because he said you guys have buried and got this machine stuck, and the winch was.
We have, and the winch is not strong enough to pull it out. Cable's not strong enough to hold it.
Okay. So that's one area that definitely he said needs to be improved is the cable. And I think one of the main.
We've had when we had it stuck, it was stuck pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
Buried it. It was, we punched through the layer and it just sank. I mean, it was in a little swampy area that you got down on a low area and had some water in it, and it just punched right through it. But I think we've had it in a year. We've had it stuck one time.
And that's still not bad considering being in the low country down here, all the wet areas.
We did break the cable the one time we had it stuck. So.
And the one thing we were talking about was, like, on the Barco that you guys had, it had a hydraulic winch because it had a big hydraulic pump in it. You could probably turn a valve, turn the hydraulic power over to the winch. This is an electric winch.
Correct.
Totally different ball game, you know, as far as power goes. Electric winch versus a hydraulic winch. You know, as far as pulling power. But so the cable snapped on you. Okay.
The crimp gave out. Where the wires crimped together in here, it popped. But it's been a good machine. I mean, Kobe takes care of it too. We got a year old, and we got a dent here that he did not put in it, and one bent on the front of the tree bar rack in the front. One little bent corner on that, and that's it. So they take pretty good care of it.
Maintenance and service, you know, maintenance is the key to the longevity of any machine for sure. So it's gonna last as long as you take care of it, you know, for the most part. This thing does, you know, obviously we said DEF. It does have a DEF in it. It does have a Cummins engine in it. I think it's around 475 horse. You guys haven't had, I know when you first got it, you had a few issues with some sensors and stuff, but since then, no other issues?
No more issues.
Yeah. They had a couple of issues, some sensor issues with the DEF, I think it was, when they first...
That was like in the first week.
Yeah, first week they had it, and the mechanic came out. Ned sent the mechanic out. He got that squared away, and ever since then, no other issues.
I mean, so you're talking 700-800 hours on it, and no more issues.
That's good. So reliability has been great with this machine. Pretty.
It's one of our better machines. I mean, it never comes to the shop to get fixed. It only comes to the shop to get serviced.
Yeah, just the normal maintenance stuff, oil changes and stuff like
Correct.
that. Okay. And the serviceability on it for you guys to service it, you know, everything's pretty easy to get to. Serviceability on it's pretty, you know, all there. You know, nothing, you know, it's like, hey, I wish this was different or hard to get to.
There's a lot of room up underneath there. So,
yeah.
I mean, and everything's accessible. There's so many panels on the sides and the back. You can get to the engine compartments easily.
Has a lot of ground clearance to get up underneath there if you need to get anything from the bottom. This, you know, the accessibility in here, everything's very open in here as well. I'll open this up if you guys want to see in here really quick. I'll jump up here. But this whole compartment in here, you know, compared to a skid steer, this is wide open in here. I mean, you guys can know how packed in everything in a skid steer is in the engine compartments and the hydraulic compartments. This thing is wide open. You know, there's your engine. Everything right there. You know, this is the DEF tank here. Fuel's up here. Your whole exhaust system. So radiator fan. You know, everything is pretty open and spacious in here. There's a lot of room, a lot of open area, and that's probably good for cooling too, to have all that stuff spaced out.
A lot of air can move through this.
Yep, a lot of air can move through this. All these grills are graded to keep
the heat out.
Yep. Keeps it cool from overheating. So, and you can see there's not a lot of, I mean, they blow this machine out every day. There's not a lot of debris in it. There's not a lot of dust. It's very clean. For a machine that does mulching, it's very clean. And that's the one thing also, it doesn't throw, the head being down there like that doesn't throw all that stuff back onto the machine. Like on a skid steer you get done at the end of the day, that thing's covered in mulch. Yep. You know, this seems to do a very good job without showering the whole entire machine
between the tracks and blows out the back.
Yep. Doesn't shower the whole thing with mulch. I mean, I'll get done mulching at the end of the day and I got mulch all over the top of my machine, you know. Yeah, I was like, how did that get there? You know.
And you tend to get in a lot tighter stuff when you're skid steer mulching too.
Yeah. So if you are interested in something like this, I know my buddy Sam with TriStar Digging, YouTuber, when he came down to Ned to buy his Prinoth head for his little Cat 308, they had another of one of these machines sitting out there, and he told me the price tag on it was about $605,000. So there you go. If you're in the market for one of these and you got $500,000 sitting in your pocket burning a hole, you know, and you want to get into, you know, big boy, you know, reclamation kind of mulching, this seems to be a very good machine. The guys from Land Services Company seem to have had a really good experience with their Prinoth so far. A couple things that could be improved upon it, but other than that, a very solid machine. This actually, so Prinoth, quick history, they got in business making snow groomers, making these big track machines to go up and down mountains, and then they bought a German company called Aui that made mulchers, and they said, let's take these big bad ass mulchers and stick them on this machine, this track machine that'll go anywhere, and this is what you get. So quick little history lesson there. I think they bought Aui in 2013. Wow. And Aui was a well respected known company for making mulchers even before Prinoth bought them. I don't think they've really changed a whole lot with that. They've just kept improving the quality that was already there, and took that and put them on these carriers, and this is what you get. This is the monster that you get right here. The Frankenstein's monster of mulching right here. But
well, that sticker's been on there for a year.
Still there.
It's pretty amazing.
So I hope this, guys, if you guys have any questions about this machine, you know, feel free to drop a comment or give Land Services a call. You guys, there's all their stuff right there, all their information. I know Clay from the last video, you got several calls about this machine.
We've gotten calls from Idaho to Florida to Virginia from the YouTube channel. You know, it's showing, and people, you know, question about whether buying one or, you know, just want to know what it takes to operate it.
Yeah.
So
it's not, it doesn't seem like it's a very hard machine to operate.
It's super user friendly, and it's just a big machine.
Yeah, it's just big, but it does the work for you. You know, it's not like a dozer where it's like you got all kinds of weird stuff going on as far as trying to make grade, or you just drive into stuff and it chews it up.
Yep.
That's pretty much that.
It's dirt.
And the other thing about this that's cool, one other thing about the head is over like a skid steer, it actually oscillates as you drive across the ground. It moves, it goes back and forth to actually conform to the ground as you drive, whereas a skid steer, you know it's just flat, whatever grade, you know, whatever angle you're on, it's gonna stay that. But this will actually, if you go over a stump and the machine goes one way, the head's gonna stay flat on the ground and keep conforming as you go across. And that's probably why everything looks as flat as it does out there. Yeah. You know, with the way this machine, you know, can keep that head flat on the ground. So that's awesome. So a couple things to be improved upon, but overall, very solid machine for these guys. So
you get the price point down on it, that'd be
yeah. It'd be nice to get one for about 150. Yeah. But awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys having me out today. Hopefully the Prinoth people will see this. Maybe a little bit better design on the teeth, that they're saying it's 1,000 hours and you're only getting about 500 to 600 of them. Maybe a little bit better design on the teeth there with the carbides, with the wear. But and that's 500 to 600 hours using both sides, correct, Scotty?
Yeah, that's used.
Yeah, using both sides, flipping them. So about 250 to 300 hours per side of the tooth, and then you got to flip it and get another, you know, 250 to 300 out the other side. So 600 overall, 500 to 600 overall. So, yep. But the teeth seem like they do a good job regardless, as far as actually cutting into everything being carbide. So, yeah, they do. All right, well, I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys, if anybody's got any questions, please drop a comment or give these guys a call. And if you're anywhere, where you guys work, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia?
We work the whole Southeast.
Okay. If
you got a project, we'll come take a look at it.
And if they can't do it, they can probably refer you to somebody that can.
Correct.
There you go.
We have a hard time turning down work.
I don't know if there's a whole lot that you guys don't do.
No, we do everything in the wildlife construction world. Whether you're reforesting or mulching or digging ponds, we do it from A to Z.
And if you guys haven't seen, they did a duck impoundment. So if you're interested in doing like a duck pond, or if you got a hunting property, if you have a large acre hunting property and you want to do some projects and you got some money to spend, these are your guys right here.
Yep.
You know, I'm just a local guy. These guys go all over the Southeast and do stuff. I'm just your local neighborhood mulcher, man. That's all I am. Yep. So if you guys need something, you know, on a big project, and you want to see this thing in action or something else that they've got, give them a call. I'm going to try to hang out with these guys again on another project with their new 315 on a pond dam. Yep. So we're going to be mulching out a pond dam with Cat 315 as well. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully we'll see this thing again in action some other time. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.